We're going to talk about the 4% rule, retirement planning, and why I think retirement planning is a total joke, especially the 4% rule, and why I believe it's going to fail most people. And then we're going to talk about a paradigm, which I hope everyone can apply to their life to maybe reframe this retirement game, reframe this 4% rule, and hopefully give you more hope and control over your wealth. My name's Caleb Guilliams. This is the BetterWealth channel, and the purpose of this channel is to make videos on money and business and finance to help you live more intentional. And I can't think of a word that crushes intentional living like retirement. This concept of retirement is, this idea of being taken out of service and to stop doing and providing value. It's a very icky word to begin with, and I think the idea of retirement and i.e. being taken out of service has really created a lot of problems in our society because a lot of people when they retire just kind of lose a sense of purpose and you could ask the question, well, why do I do what I do, and what's the point of life? And now I know that this might be extreme, but I've just seen so often people hate what they do on a day-to-day basis for a someday future to retire, and then realize when they hit retirement that it's not fulfilling at all. I'll say this: when I was working at the bank and I sat down with a couple that was nearing retirement, and after asking them a few questions, I realized that they were both miserable. They both weren't happy, and they've never been asked what they've wanted. They've never been asked what they truly wanted out of life. And then to make matters worse, I had to let them know that their retirement wasn't going to be a fraction of what they thought. And when they were leaving my office, I was just thinking to myself, what am I doing? Like, why would I want to dedicate my life to making money in a system that I don't believe is truly helping people? And so none of this video is something unique or gonna be life-changing, but I hope I can share a concept in a way that can get you thinking, no matter what age you are. You may be in retirement, you may be nearing retirement, or you might be in your 40s or 30s, and really be able to make some pivots that can make a big difference in your life. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to draw, and I'm going to do this 4% rule 101. So the concept of retirement planning is you have this mountain, and you're right here, and you're climbing up the mountain, and the whole concept is you're gonna hit a day where you're gonna spend down your nest egg, and then you're gonna come down the mountain. And so a lot of times, like, this is like Wall Street Planning 101. This is a picture of supposed to be you, is they say, okay, you're going to lock up your money. You're going to give us all control of your money. We're going to, you're going to, with the hope of growing, of appreciation, of compound interest. And one day, in the next 20, 30, 40 years, whether you hate your life or not, you're going to have some type of number. We've all seen those commercials, like, what's your number? And you're like carrying your number on your back. And this number will be spent down. And we use what's called the 4% rule to generate what kind of income you can spend down when we include inflation to have a pretty good chance that you're not going to run out of money. Now, what's ironic is I'm going to use 4% because I think it's still a very small, miserable number. But the sad reality is now people are saying 4% is too aggressive. When you look at the volatility, when you look at interest rates, when you look at just people still running out of money that's doing the 4% rule. So now people are saying 3%. Now some people are saying 2.5%. So just think about whatever I'm showing. There are some people that are saying it has to be a lot worse because of the environment that we're in. So we're going to just be safe and assume that you have your rosy $1 million at retirement. Now, I can't help but to think like what you gave up by growing to $1 million, but that's a whole nother story. I mean, you might have dedicated 40 years to your life investing money to get to $1 million. What could you have done over those 40 years if you invested differently? That's just a question. I want to be very clear. This is not investment advice. I'm not don't sue me. I'm just making this video because I want to inspire different thinking as it relates to how we use our money. And so the 4% rule would essentially say this person would be able to take out $40,000. Now, the amount of people that actually have $1 million in retirement is pretty slim, and yet $40,000 doesn't feel like a lot of money at all. Now, granted, there's Social Security, there may be pensions, there might be other money, but at the end of the day, the 4% rule would say that they could take out $40,000 and maybe with inflation be able to increase that a little bit each year due to inflation. Now, that's the 4% rule. And so that's essentially, a lot of people might love the concept of growing their money and making it in the market and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, a lot of people don't have an income strategy. They don't have a distribution strategy. And it's a huge problem. And there's a whole market between how to use different products. And there's a lot of different strategies. If you find yourself nearing retirement or in retirement, there's a lot of different strategies you can do to potentially, not investment advice, potentially get greater distribution of 4% just based on bucket strategies, annuity strategies, potential real estate strategies. But we're not going to talk about any of those strategies at this point. We're just going to talk about the idea of you only being able to spend $40,000 off of your $1 million asset. Now, the math equation here is if you divide 40,000, the actual cash flow, and you divide, the distribution rate of, 4%, you're going to get $1 million, which pretty much says, if we, reverse engineer this, that ultimately this $1 million asset that you spent hypothetical 35, 40 years building produced 40,000. So the real question is, with your resources, it's a cash flow game. It's all about cash flow. You're not going to spend your whole $1 million nest egg tomorrow. So your nest egg is just a cash flow. And if we understand that the 4% rule, or now the lower than 4% rule, is a very inefficient way to create cash flow, it gets us to start thinking, what can we do with our time? What can we do with our money? What can we do with our relationships? What can we do with our, resources or talents that can get a greater cash flow than the $40,000? And this is what gets very exciting, because a lot of people might look at something like real estate and say, okay, not endorsing real estate, by the way, but I can get a bank loan. I can put, a little bit of money down. I can get a bank loan. I can get a $500,000 real estate property, or maybe $1 million real estate property, and it can produce cash flow. And over the next 30 years, that asset not only is worth $1 million, but is creating cash flow that's far greater than my $40,000 that is being produced in my stock portfolio. And then we can start thinking about other initiatives and other business opportunities and other investment opportunities, and start asking the question, how can, instead of what number do I need to get, how can I generate this 40,000 or 50,000 or 60,000 faster? That really is the question. And it just comes down to, if you could generate $80,000 a year at this 4% number, you would need $2 million just to create an income. This video idea really came about because I was talking to my buddy who is earning $16,000 a year from his investment portfolio, and we did the math. I'm going to do the math in front of you right now. And so we did the math, and we said, okay, you have $16,000 coming in a year on this one, deal. That's an equivalent of you saving up and having over $400,000 in a portfolio. And we were laughing because my friend, has, been in the game a few years and has never made over $100,000. So the idea of him earning $400,000, let alone actually having that invested, is a way, but yet this person, through creativity and through opportunities, was able to generate what he would need in the typical way of $400,000 to produce $16,000 of income. So again, the purpose of this video is not to give investment advice. It's the idea of, number one, if retirement is something that you're looking forward to, rethink your thinking. Find another job, find another opportunity, because in most cases, majority of people are not going to have a fraction of what they think they're going to have. And it's not even your fault. It's just it's just where we are as a world, and it's just the truth. It's interest rates. There's so many people to quote unquote blame, but at the end of the day, if you're miserable with your life, it's your fault. Just get out and do something that you truly love. So that's number one. Number two is, if your strategy is to appreciate your money, to have $1 million or $2 million to have an income plan, don't just default to the 4% rule. Work with someone, whether it's us or someone else, that can help you strategize, because you might not want to take risk in certain areas or do real estate, but there are ways to potentially bump that 4% number up to a greater number if you have a strategy. And if you're someone that's in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and looking at this and saying, wow, like I've never thought about it this way, start reverse engineering your retirement plan or investing strategy to enhance cash flow, and really measure everything based off of cash flow versus your net worth, because net worth can be very misleading. And at the end of the day, we're not spending our net worth tomorrow. Our net worth is hopefully kicking off income, and income or cash flow is what we should be focused on. So again, I hope this video was helpful. I hope this video maybe turned on a light bulb just in how we think. I would love to hear just some biggest takeaways if you have any questions, and if you would like me to do more videos on this topic around cash flow and retirement planning for the BetterWealth channel.